Hi there everybody, on today's wrestling news we're going to talk about Nikki Bella's husband being arrested on DV charges.
Janelle Grant was not interviewed for the new Vince McMahon docu-series.
The AEW star named as Mick Foley's dream final opponent.
And a WWE Star Re-Signs. I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm Andy Murray.
And this is the news.
Before we begin this one, little content warning. We are going to be talking about the DV charges that Nikki Bella's husband was arrested for on Thursday. So, sensitive topic, obviously. The timestamps are down below. Just giving you fair warning. If you want to click ahead, they're right there. Just leave it a couple of seconds there. Okay, let's dive into this story then, because it's grim. I'm looking at my phone a lot during this one is because I just want to get all the facts of this story correct. So, TMZ broke the news, and it's been covered by other outlets like People and others. But Artem Chigvintsev, who's the husband of Nikki Bella, he's been arrested, or Nikki Garcia, as she goes by now, has been arrested. He was in jail in Napa, California, after being arrested for domestic battery. He was booked into jail on Thursday morning after an alleged incident just before 10 a.m. Now, the circumstances of this are very unclear, and Nikki, there's no word, and it's completely unclear if she was even involved in this. So we need to make that very, very clear as we go through this story. They've been together since 2019. They have a 4-year-old son called Mateo. I think they've been married since like 2022 or something like that. But TMZ, after this initial report, which is obviously quite light on details, they issued an update stating that a 911 call came through at 8:30 in the morning following a medical emergency, and that's a direct quote, at the home in Napa. It's unclear who made that call. Paramedics in the fire department were en route, but another call was then made to 911 to cancel the request. So the paramedics in the fire department returned to their stations here. Doesn't say why or anything like that, but what we do know is that at 10 a.m. Artem was arrested for felony corporal injury to spouse or cohabitant, and in order for such an arrest to be made, the injury needs to be visible. So that's why he was arrested. The victim's name has been withheld in this situation, and the victim has asked for complete confidentiality. So with all that in mind, just to wrap this one up, I'll put these details in the description down below as well. But if you or someone you know has been affected by the issues that concern this story, and you're based in the US, which is where the vast majority of our viewers are, you can contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-723, or text START to 88788. Details will be down below there. But yeah, we're just going to move on to the next story now because anything else would be grossly irresponsible.
Yeah, awful to hear about this yesterday, but we're not going to speculate any more on this story.
Just hope that whoever was the victim of this is doing as best they can.
Right, let's move on and talk about the new Netflix docu-series on Vince McMahon. It was all over social media last night with Netflix promoting the 6-part series that starts on September 25th about the former WWE CEO Vince McMahon. But a spokesperson for Janelle Grant has told WrestleNomics and Post Wrestling that neither Janelle nor her representatives were interviewed for the docu-series that premieres on Vince McMahon next month. The series titled Vince McMahon, as I said, 6 one-hour episodes chronicling the rise and fall of Vince McMahon. It's going to cover, how he built up WWE. It's also got over 200 hours of interviews with the McMahon himself prior to his resignation, his family members, business associates, and some of the most iconic names in wrestling history, as well as the journalists who uncovered Vince McMahon's allegations. It's an unflinching, no-holds-barred look at one of the most enigmatic figures in sports entertainment. That's the blurb for the show. Yeah. But yeah, disappointing that the Janelle Grant stuff hasn't been personally covered.
Yeah, I think that when I hear, PR sentences saying unflinching and no holds barred, and then you hear that either Janelle or representatives of her weren't contacted her, that doesn't really add up. The great worry with this series has always been that it's just going to be this astroturfed.
Yes.
Vince was a genius. He built wrestling up to this. Blah 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 blah.
He had his foibles, but
you know what he was like, and all of this. And this guy has controversies going back decades and decades. It's not just Janelle Grant. There's loads and loads and loads of stuff there. So I sincerely hope the documentary covers the full breadth of this man and what he is.
Yes.
Right? Because, yes, you do have to, speak about wrestling, right? Like, and the 80s and the 90s and building it up and all of this stuff. But at the same time, you also have to cover the terrible, terrible things this monster,
yes,
if these things are true, has been accused of over the years. That's part of his legacy. It's what he is.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to do. Like you say, you've got to talk about the business genius that he was to develop the WWF that became the WWE into the juggernaut it is today. But yeah, you can't ignore the other things. You can't just say like, oh, well, yeah, he had some business practices that people didn't agree with. And also, oh, he liked to treat the women a certain way, and then have like the Trish barking like a dog clip and be like, oh.
What's he like?
Yeah, you have to, if it's an unflinching look in particular, you have to cover every detail. And like you say, you can't just say, there's some allegations going on. It's disappointing. Like I say, I'm not saying we want Janelle Grant on the docuseries necessarily.
Yeah, I can't imagine she'd want to do it.
But you should get the exact story as the allegations have been presenting there.
Yeah, so just like a little bit of a red flag regarding the series. Hey, maybe it'll come out and they'll have covered everything and we'll be like, fair play. But yeah, I sincerely hope it's not like a PR rebuilding his image, and I hope as well that it doesn't end up with being some kind of look, the bad man's gone now story either, because the lawsuit that Janelle Grant's filing, lest we forget, is not just against Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis.
One bad apple.
Yeah, it's against WWE and some of the other people that are named in there, and the various executive officers and so forth. Yeah, it's a very important thing to include. And I don't know, just, I've always been a bit trepidatious about this docuseries, and I will reserve final judgment until it comes out, but I think it's wise for everyone to just be a little bit cautious, because that's a bit of a warning sign, for sure.
September 25th it comes out.
Indeed. 6 episodes as well. Right, we'll cover it when it comes out and stuff like that. But yeah, Mick Foley. Let's talk about Mick Foley. Let's talk about some wrestling stuff. After, just what absolutely horrible first story that was. Gee, it was harrowing. We'll talk about Mick Foley a little bit here. Remember earlier this year, I think it was, he was talking about having a final match next year, which would have celebrated he'd be 60. He'd be an old guy.
Birthday.
Happy birthday, Mick. He was thinking about having a last match, and then he changed his mind because he suffered a concussion while he was training, and he was like, it's probably not
worth the risk, is it now?
No. But he was speaking at Nickel City Comic Con and stated that if he was going to go ahead with this match, it was going to be with MJF.
Ooh.
That's who he wanted. So I'll read Mick's quote here. When I announced that intention, there was no shortage of people from every promotion reaching out to me. And one guy I probably would have gone with, because he'd clearly have done some thinking about it and lined out 6 great weeks of TV, was MJF. We didn't take a photo together because we didn't like to ruin the secret meeting. Kayfabe, I like it.
Yeah.
But I heard what he had to say. I really liked it. I had no doubt he would have pulled it off perfectly. And then he just puts MJF over a bunch. Yeah, MJF would have done a really good job with Mick, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's completely understanding that it's not happening, but you think, oh, that could have been fun. Mick Foley, lovely bloke, of course, and MJF. Some people think he's not a nice guy, and I sense he had an absolute field day with Mick Foley, especially if it's his last ever match. And you sense that the match, like MJF could have worked around Foley's limitations nowadays, and they could have built something really fun as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like if I'm not going to lie, when I saw this headline, I thought he was going to say Darby Allin.
I thought he was going to say that.
Yeah, because Darby Allin's mental. And Mick, like later career, Mick, some of his most famous matches are with like Edge and Randy Orton, right? In his later years in WWE, where they had it back. SHIT hardcore matches.
Yes.
I almost swore on the video that I can't edit it out, which would be an idiot move. But yeah, like obviously Mick's chosen to do what's best for his health here. So shout outs to him. Would have been fun. Would have been fun to see. But look, if it's gonna do harm and you're retired and you just want to chill, fair play.
Yeah. Just imagine what it would have been like in your mind. It would have been awesome.
Imagine Darby Allin throwing himself through the ropes.
Darby Allin can be the special guest referee and just bump himself.
Yeah, why not? Just go through a flaming car. Why not?
Why have you set it on fire, Darby?
Yeah, what
You're
are you
the ref.
doing?
Anyway, let's talk about the WWE star that has re-signed. This coming from Fightful Select. Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross has inked a new deal with WWE. Obviously hasn't wrestled since November of last year, but obviously an integral part of the new Wyatt 6 stable. Fightful Select saying that negotiations happened in the spring, before the faction even debuted. It's a multi-year contract in length, and nice to hear this. There's also within WWE very positive things to say about Nikki Cross, particularly during the pandemic. Numerous extras reached out to Fightful to say how welcoming Cross was to them. Yeah, look, I don't think I've ever heard anyone have anything bad to say about Nikki Cross. She kind of lost her way for a fair while, I think it's fair to say, and missing being with 24/7 championships, all that stuff aside, I'm glad she's really found something she can get her teeth into now, because I'm enjoying her as a part of the Wyatt Six.
Yeah, she had some time off as well. She got her either her masters or
yes, she did.
Yeah, so shout outs to her. She's been doing big things in her personal life. Good, glad to hear she's re-signed. Honestly, she's very talented. Not always had the best creative direction, I don't think. Like the Who Wants to Play era was a bit not something that was going to propel her up the card.
And also, fair play, however you feel about Nikki ASH, she utilised that to get a title win, so...
Yeah, and it was over for a little bit,
yeah.
Right? Like, we always said at the time, like, this is not for us, this is for kids.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So, hey, listen, I'm not going to say and bury something that was intended for, like, the 10-year-old in the front row who's cheering it on, you know? Yeah, good to hear. I think the Wyatt Six stuff has been done quite well so far. I think that they've done well to not be like too beyond the realms of reality with it. And the Chad Gable match with Bo, with Uncle Howdy was good. I thought their first trios match, the stable match, was good. So look, it's been good stuff so far. And I've said this so many times, but I'm really glad that they are paying tribute to the legacy of Bray Wyatt after his tragic passing. Yeah. And like Bo it's probably really cathartic for him as well. So
they're handling it well. They're handling it better than I thought they were going to. And like you say, it's a difficult tightrope to walk with and they're not really doing the supernatural element, but obviously all the stuff that comes with the lore of Bray Wyatt. But like you say, the matches that we've seen have been really good so far, and excited to see what Nikki Cross does when she does this gimmick in the ring. But her involvement in it has been great recently.
Yeah, good stuff. Like,
good for her.
And I like having Eric Rowan back as well.
Yes.
Love that man.
Right, that's all the news stories for today. If you want to check out another video, there's another one right here.
And we'll be back later today. No, me and Hamlet will be back later today with a Q&A.
Oh,
so enjoy that. Bye.